7:23 a.m. The Oval Office. A single question hangs in the air. How close are we? The answer would determine whether two wars end this week or rage into 2026. President Donald Trump stares at the conference call display. 9 European leaders wait on the line. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is patched in from Berlin. And somewhere in Moscow, Vladimir Putin's representatives are calculating their next move. 24 hours earlier, Trump's envoys spent 7 hours in marathon negotiations. They emerged with a claim that shocked even seasoned diplomats. We're closer than ever to peace. But today is when promises meet reality. The morning that divided the White House. 8:47 a.m. Trump ends the European call. Immediately, his phone buzzes. It's the call he's been dreading. Benjamin Netanyahu. The Israeli Prime Minister isn't calling to congratulate Trump on the Ukraine progress. He's calling because the White House just publicly scolded him. Something almost unthinkable between these two allies. The Gaza ceasefire Trump personally brokered. Netanyahu allegedly violated it. Saturday's strike that killed a senior Hamas commander wasn't just a military operation. According to 2 U.S. officials who spoke to Axios, it was a direct breach of the agreement, and worse, it risked destroying Trump's reputation as a dealmaker. The message Trump's team delivered was blunt. If you want to ruin your reputation and show you don't abide by agreements, be our guest. But we won't allow you to ruin President Trump's reputation. Think about that. The President of the United States publicly rebuking America's closest Middle Eastern ally during Hanukkah. One day after a terrorist attack in Sydney killed 11 people at a Hanukkah celebration. The political calculus is brutal. Trump needs Netanyahu to cooperate if he wants to expand the Abraham Accords and secure peace across the Middle East. But Netanyahu needs Trump's support to survive politically in Israel. Who blinks first? Rehook. Closer than ever. But to what? 10:15 a.m. Trump steps into the Oval Office for his morning intelligence briefing. The Syria situation still dominates the agenda. 3 Americans dead. ISIS claiming responsibility. Syrian forces, America's controversial new ally. Arresting suspects. But today's briefing isn't about retaliation. It's about Ukraine. The intelligence assessment lands on his desk. Article 5 like security guarantees now on the table. European leaders committed. Russia signaling openness. One major obstacle remains. Territory. Translation. The peace deal everyone said was impossible is now possible. Maybe. Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, and his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, spent Sunday and Monday in Berlin, hammering out the details. The German Chancellor called the U.S. security guarantees considerable. French President Emmanuel Macron flew to Berlin to join the talks. NATO leaders are coordinating. Ukrainian President Zelensky is prepared to abandon his NATO membership dreams in exchange for ironclad Western protection. The world is watching. Millions are praying. But one question haunts every negotiator. Will Putin actually agree? US officials told CNN the guarantees are real, robust, historic. But they also said something else. Those guarantees will not be on the table forever. Those guarantees are on the table right now. The clock is ticking, and Trump knows it. The ceasefire that wasn't 12:40 p.m. Between back-to-back calls with congressional leaders about the healthcare crisis consuming Capitol Hill, Trump takes 5 minutes to address the press pool. A reporter asks the question everyone wants answered. Mr. President, did Israel violate the Gaza ceasefire? Trump's response is careful. Calculated. We're looking into it. That's not a denial. It's not an accusation. It's Trump buying time while his advisors, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, Middle East Advisor Jared Kushner, wrestle with a diplomatic nightmare. Because here's what's really happening behind closed doors. The world wants peace in Gaza. Arab nations are demanding it. European leaders are insisting on it. American voters are exhausted by it. And Trump desperately needs it if he wants to achieve his signature foreign policy goal, expanding the Abraham Accords to include Saudi Arabia. Netanyahu wants to destroy Hamas completely, not contain them, not negotiate with them, eliminate them. We have still to finish the job in Gaza, he told House Speaker Mike Johnson just hours ago. Hamas refuses to disarm. They agreed to a ceasefire. They won't agree to surrender their weapons. And without disarmament, Israel says, there can be no lasting peace. 3 immovable positions. One president trying to force a breakthrough. U.S. Ambassador to Turkey Tom Barrack is in Jerusalem today, meeting with Netanyahu. The message he's delivering isn't public, but sources say it's urgent. Stop the strikes in Syria. Stop undermining the ceasefire. Start acting like the partner Trump needs you to be. Will Netanyahu listen? The healthcare battle. No one is winning 2:30 p.m. While Trump navigates 2 potential peace deals overseas, a crisis is exploding at home. The Affordable Care Act subsidies expire in 15 days. December 31st. That's it. After that, millions of Americans will see their insurance premiums skyrocket. House Republicans unveiled their solution last Friday. It's already falling apart. The GOP won't extend the subsidies. Too expensive. Too much like Obamacare. Conservative voters would revolt. But they can't let the subsidies expire either. 22 million Americans benefit from them. Many live in swing districts. All of them vote. The Republican compromise. Let vulnerable members vote for an amendment to extend subsidies, while party leadership votes against it. Everyone gets political cover. Nothing actually gets done. Trump wants this fixed. He posted repeatedly that money should go directly back to the people, rather than big, fat, rich insurance companies. But his own party can't agree on how to do it, and time is running out. Speaker Mike Johnson's office is in chaos. Votes are being counted. Commitments are being broken. Moderates are panicking. Conservatives are threatening to torpedo the entire package. In 15 days, this crisis explodes, and Trump will own the fallout. When allies become liabilities, 4:50 p.m. Trump's afternoon was supposed to be lighter. A few CEO calls, an economic briefing, a meeting with his trade team about the China hearing scheduled for tomorrow at the USTR office. Instead, he's on the phone with Netanyahu. Again, the Israeli Prime Minister is defensive, defiant. He argues that Israel had to strike. Hamas was violating the ceasefire first by smuggling weapons and attacking soldiers. The White House position is clear. Israel broke the agreement, period. And the consequences? They're already playing out. Qatar is furious. After Israel's recent strike on Qatari territory that killed a Qatar Internal Security Force member, the Gulf Cooperation Council is demanding new security guarantees from the United States. Trump has had to personally assure Arab leaders that it won't happen again. Netanyahu's refusal to rule out future similar strikes isn't helping. European leaders are frustrated. Germany, France, Britain. They're all pushing Trump to restrain Netanyahu. The European Union proposed last week to partially suspend its trade agreement with Israel over human rights concerns. Arab normalization is stalling. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi won't even take Netanyahu's calls. The UAE hasn't invited him to visit despite the Abraham Accords being signed 5 years ago. Trump's dream of Saudi normalization. It's impossible without Arab buy-in. Netanyahu has become, as one US official told Axios, a global pariah. And Trump is caught in the middle, needing Netanyahu's cooperation, but unable to defend his actions to the international community. The meeting scheduled for December 29th at Mar-a-Lago suddenly feels less like a celebration and more like a reckoning. The peace that almost was 7:15 p.m. As evening falls over Washington, Trump reviews the day's diplomatic scorecard. Ukraine, closer to peace than ever, according to Trump himself. European leaders united. Security guarantees substantial. Zelensky, willing to compromise. But Putin, he sent mixed signals all day. His foreign policy advisor warned that Russian police and National Guard troops would remain in occupied Donbass even under a peace deal, a demand Ukraine will almost certainly reject. Israel-Gaza. Ceasefire intact but fragile. Netanyahu apologized to Qatar today for the strike, a rare admission of error. But he also told reporters Israel's campaign isn't done. Trump called for an international stabilization force to oversee the ceasefire, but no country has publicly committed troops yet. Syria. American envoy Tom Barrack finished his meetings with Netanyahu. No public statement. The strikes haven't stopped. 3 wars, 3 potential peace deals, 3 different deadlines converging, and Trump sitting at the center of it all, calculating which crisis demands his attention first. The numbers behind the chaos. Trump's schedule for December shows an average of 21 meetings, calls, or events per day. Today exceeded that. Fox News obtained his internal calendar earlier this month, revealing 10-hour workdays stretching into evening. December 16th wasn't extraordinary because it was unusual. It was extraordinary because it was normal. By 7:30 p.m., Trump had conducted the 1-hour European leaders' call on Ukraine, taken multiple calls with Netanyahu, briefed on Syria retaliation options, still pending, met with congressional leaders on healthcare, spoke with his trade team about tomorrow's China hearing, held calls with 3 separate CEOs, reviewed intelligence assessments on Russia's willingness to negotiate, and the day isn't over yet. Midnight in the Oval Office, 11:47 p.m. The lights still burn in the West Wing. Trump is on the phone with Witkoff in Berlin. The envoy's voice is cautious, but optimistic. We're at 90% on most issues. Territory is the sticking point. And timing. Russia wants it ended, then suddenly doesn't. Ukraine wants it ended, then suddenly doesn't. We have to get them on the same page. Trump hangs up. Stares at the Resolute desk. Tomorrow, the USTR holds public hearings on China's implementation of the Phase 1 trade agreement. Healthcare votes continue on the Hill. Witkoff and Kushner will have more meetings in Berlin. Netanyahu will navigate domestic politics in Israel. Syrian forces will continue hunting ISIS cells. And somewhere between Washington, Berlin, Jerusalem, and Moscow, decisions are being made that will define whether December 2025 is remembered as the month 2 wars ended, or the month peace slipped away. Trump knows what's at stake. 2 potential Nobel Peace Prizes on the line. A foreign policy legacy that could dwarf even the Abraham Accords. Midterm elections just 11 months away. But tonight, all that matters is one question. Will tomorrow bring breakthroughs or breakdowns? The answer, as always in Trump's Washington, depends on who picks up the phone first and what they're willing to sacrifice to make history. Tomorrow's episode: the China hearing that could reshape global trade, Netanyahu's next move, and whether the Ukraine peace talks survive their first major test. December 16th, 2025 wasn't the day the wars ended, but it might have been the day they started ending. The difference? 24 hours and 1,000 decisions that no one will ever see.